Hi, this is Sana, and let's get ready to make junket. Some of you may know junket well. It was kind of a retro type of dessert, perhaps back in the 70s and 80s, where it's this really nice kind of American pudding, real nutmeg taste, really delicious, but actually it's really healthy stuff. And I think it's fallen out of disuse because it's not instant. It's something that needs to actually make from scratch, but it's really worth it. It will give you a lot of probiotics. It'll be really good and healthy for you and your family. And actually it's really quick and easy to make as well. So let's see what we've got here. We've got the good old Junket tablets, which are really just RENNET tablets. So if you are at a really good shop, cheese-making shop, or online these days is really the best way, you can get Junket or RENNET tablets of some sort, only for a type of custard, but also for ice creams and all sorts of cheeses, hard cheeses and soft cheeses, fresh cheeses, really great. And then you'll need milk. Ideally, you'd have raw milk or kefir milk, which is what I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using kefir milk because that just gives extra probiotics and extra health into the dessert. But you can use regular old whole milk or 2% milk, whatever you've got. Then we'll want to have a little bit of sugar. We'll also want to have some good spices. So nutmeg is a must because it really brings out that wonderful flavor of the dairy. Then I also have cinnamon here, and I also have cardamom, which is totally optional if you like it or not. I'm going to make a maple syrup variety. So I've got some maple syrup for flavor and then a wee bit of salt so that it just kind of really brings out that flavor. I've got also the pudding cups at hand because this is really quick, stovetop recipe, and you pour it in here. Some people really even like to have it warm, just ready to go, or you can use these and chill them for a couple hours and have a really nice set custard. It's just so delicious. So you'll also need a couple things such as a measuring cup, because you'll need 2 cups or a quart of the milk, a half cup for your flavoring like maple syrup, and you'll also want a teaspoon and a half teaspoon just to get the right amount of spices. Final thing you'll need is a saucepan on the stove top and a stirrer, ideally with slotted just because it's liquid. So let's get started. First things first, we'll get that milk going, already on medium heat. The milk is warming on the stove. Now we're going to actually prepare the rennet. So the junket comes in tablets. You can also get it in liquid form. So you just take one of the tablets out and then you put 2 tablespoons of cold water in with it and just smash up that tablet, have it dissolve. And we will use this and add that to the milk to get that setting agent and to get that milk activated. I've got the 2 cups of milk already here on the hob in our saucepan. I have turned it down to low, just wanted to heat up the pan initially, but now we just want to keep it nice and low. We just want to warm up this milk just to get it really nice and activated. Next thing, put in all the flavors that you want. So I start with the teaspoon of cinnamon, which I just put in. We also want a half a teaspoon of nutmeg. So you can of course buy ground. I do like to kind of ground it up fresh, just gives it that kind of extra flavor. So put in a good amount because that really balances out the flavor of the dairy. It's just so delicious. Oh, it smells good already, especially over this warm milk. So then you can choose about your flavors beyond that. And very traditional is to do vanilla. So you could put in a teaspoon of vanilla and then put in a bit of sugar as well. I'll put that in the notes about exactly how much sugar. But I'd like to do a maple variety today, so I don't need the sugar since this will act as my sugar. I just need to have maple syrup. And so I've got a whole half cup here It is a lot, but that will act as all the sugar for this recipe, and also wonderful flavor. Some of the spices are looking a little bit gloopy here, so if we don't want to come across that later, I'm just putting a whisk in just to make sure it's fully incorporated in the flavors all the way through. That makes it really nice. Great. It's beautifully blended now, all together, and it smells so good. So good. So we want to heat this, make sure it gets up to about 90 degrees or so, so not too hot, but just nice and warm, so it's really activating. We'll put in a smidge of salt as well. Remember, there's no salt in any of this dairy. This will just be a flavor enhancer. Not much. It says really, half a teaspoon. I usually would go actually even a little bit less than that. And let's just get that fully incorporated again. All those flavors mixed beautifully together. I think we're getting to about 2 minutes. It's still nicely incorporated. It's looking really glossy now. You can see it's still nice and liquid, but starting to get really, really glossy looking. And it's got a wonderful flavor, and you can see that with the spices in there. So it's got a really caramel texture. It looks fantastic. So start to thicken just a little bit. We don't need it to thicken fully like perhaps a baked custard with eggs. So just pulling this directly off the stovetop, still nice and warm. And now I just want to fill these. It should make about 4 servings, maybe a little less, depending on how much you want to give each person. And I'll just try to get these more or less kind of even so that it's no arguments later. Excellent. Okay, all set. Now I'll just take these, put them into the refrigerator, let them set for about 2 hours. Before I do that, they're still a bit warm. So I will let them sit at room temperature for 10 minutes. So we'll let these sit, and then I'll just place them in the refrigerator.